What's going on, bottom line viewers and NFL gamblers? It's Mitch back here with another NFL Best Bets video. In this video, my 5 and make it 6 this week picks against the spread, as well as my teaser of the week, giving you my favorite picks in the NFL and my best bets this NFL week 4 of the 2021 NFL season. Before I give you my favorite picks, my best bets of week 4, make sure that you do spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the Bottom Line View for more NFL best bets just like this every single Thursday. Also, comment in the comment section below. Let me know your best bet of week number 4. You can also get my exclusive bets every single week on my Patreon. So subscribe to Patreon. Get it now. I preview every week. I do 2 separate previews on top of giving you all of my bets each and every week over there exclusively to BLV patrons. So far this 2021 NFL season, I am 10-7 in my spread picks, 3-0 in my teaser picks, overall 13-7. We were 4-2 last week, so we're still hitting at about 65%. Looking to go add that extra game, add to that percentage, get better this week in week number 4. So here we go, kicking it off with bet number 1. The Los Angeles Rams -4.5 taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Now, early in the week, I was thinking, you know what? This might be a letdown spot for the LA Rams. But I saw the number move from 6 to 4.5. So now I feel like they're buying too much into the Arizona Cardinals. I'm flipping it back on them. I'm taking the Rams here at 4.5. 6 was a little bit rich for me, but 4.5, I'm into it. I'm into taking the Rams versus the Arizona Cardinals. And you know why? Because Sean McVay is absolutely, utterly dominated not just Cliff Kingsbury, but the Arizona Cardinals. He is 8-0 in his career versus the Arizona Cardinals. He has dominated them, and that's been without Matthew Stafford as his quarterback, who so far is arguably the MVP of pro football right now. So give me the Los Angeles Rams -4.5. What I also love about this matchup is just the X's and O's on both sides of the football. The Rams can eat versus this secondary. Cooper Kupp, simply there is nobody that can cover him on the Arizona Cardinals. On the other hand, Robert Woods, Van Jefferson, and Deshaun Jackson should all have favorable matchups on the outside, as well as Tyler Higbee at tight end. The Cardinals have one of the weakest secondaries on paper in pro football. Yes, their pass rush can be explosive and dangerous, but the Rams have actually allowed one of the lowest sack rates in pro football right now. They've been arguably the best pass protecting offensive line in the NFL, as we saw just last week versus the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think Matthew Stafford, kept clean, is going to rip apart this secondary, and I believe he will be kept clean in this game, which means that the Rams will dictate pace of play, move the football, create a lot of time of possession, and keep Kyler Murray on the sidelines and score a lot of points, first and foremost. Then you get the ball into Kyler Murray's hands, where he has struggled versus the Rams, especially last year. And I believe this Rams defense is uniquely set up to defend Kyler Murray. They have a lot of athletic edge players. Obviously, they can creatively send 3 or 4 or 5 players at the quarterback and still create stunts and pressure, as we even saw versus the Bucks with a great pass protecting O-line and Tom Brady. Now, Kyler Murray, Tom Brady, totally different players, but Kyler Murray is obviously not as precise, obviously not as cerebral as a Tom Brady. He is more athletic, but then you take away his number 1 weapon in DeAndre Hopkins, because Jalen Ramsey will likely be shadowing him because he knows where he's going to line up on every single snap. I just don't see how the Cardinals, with a lack of a running game, with a lack of balance, is going to consistently move the ball on a good Rams defense. I think the Rams right now are playing as the best team in football, so I'm going to leverage that to my side and take the Rams -4.5. My second best bet this week in week 4 is the Detroit Lions +2.5. Now, preferably, you got this at 3, or you could still take it at 3 if you like. Or you could just take the Detroit Lions money line to defeat the Chicago Bears. I know this isn't exactly a marquee football game in week 4, But from what I've seen from both teams, the Detroit Lions are the superior football team to the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears, a lot is being made of Justin Fields, the electrifying first-round quarterback. He was sacked nine times versus the Cleveland Browns. A Cleveland Browns defense that previously to that game, I was very, very, very sour on. I was very low on that defense, and they just absolutely dominated the line of scrimmage and dominated a Chicago Bears offense that looks absolutely lost. They can't do anything right. The play calling from Matt Nagy is atrocious. It is disgusting. And the Detroit Lions have actually been very competitive in every game they've played. They nearly came back on the 49ers in week 1. They were very competitive with the Packers until really the third quarter when Jared Goff's small hands couldn't take the reign. And then in week 3, they almost beat the Ravens. May I say should have beat the Ravens if the Ravens don't have Justin Tucker kicking a 66-yard field goal. And we might be looking at this Lions team a lot different. This line might be a lot different if it's a different result in that game. The Lions are pretty healthy on both sides of the football. They faced a mobile quarterback in Lamar just a week before this game, so they're kind of prepared for all that could be in terms of Justin Fields' movement. And Fields has not been good passing the ball accurately, getting the ball out quick. I think the Lions' defense will feast in this game, and I think the Lions have been consistently running the ball on just about any team with DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams. Jared Goff has been safe with the football. I think the Lions pull out an ugly defensive game here, so taking the points in a game that could potentially be very low scoring is always a favorable thing for us bettors. I will take the Lions to win this game outright over the Chicago Bears. My third best bet of week 4 is... yes, I'm backing the Kansas City Chiefs. I understand that I've been the guy saying the Chiefs are overrated, but I've been correct about the Chiefs all year. So let's reverse and let's get on the Chiefs bandwagon. Their train this week. They are favored by only 7. I feel like Vegas is starting to understand that the Chiefs have been maybe a little bit overvalued and now are starting to maybe lower that number just a little bit. They're only favored by 7 over the Philadelphia Eagles in a spot where the Chiefs are coming off of a loss. They are 1-2. Can you possibly imagine the Chiefs not coming out with a rebound performance, with a performance that's a get back sort of spot for the Kansas City Chiefs? A team that's still favored to win the Super Bowl is only favored by 7 over the Philadelphia Eagles, an Eagles team with a lackluster offense that has nearly no identity, that really can't do anything right offensively. The Chiefs defense, yes, is bad, but I feel like eventually they'll have one of these big games where they are such an aggressive defense where they'll create turnovers, they'll create stops, and they'll create negative plays. I think this could be the game. They are very angry. They are very motivated. They are very frustrated. And I think Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and company take it out on the Philadelphia Eagles, a Eagles team without 2 of their best offensive linemen, their left tackle, their right guard. They're missing Brandon Graham. I just feel like the Eagles are not that team that can dominate the line of scrimmage consistently any longer versus the Chiefs, which will give them issues, especially on the perimeter, versus Tyreek Hill, defending Travis Kelce. It's going to be a nightmare for the Eagles in this game. Not to mention, Andy Reid, revenge on the Philadelphia Eagles is always a factor for me personally. I think the Chiefs have their first blowout win of the year and blow out the Eagles in this game. Yes, the Chief hater is backing the Chiefs here. Give me Kansas City, -7. My fourth best bet of week number 4 is the Green Bay Packers, favored by 7 over the Pittsburgh Steelers at Lambeau Field. Now, I don't understand this one. This was the first one I wrote down, and sometimes that can be a little bit, worrisome because it just feels so obvious that you should pick this team to cover, and sometimes that's how they get you, but I just don't see this. I don't see how the Steelers cover this game. They can't move the ball. Their offense is horrendous. They can't pass. They can't run. They can't pass protect. They can't run block. And how are they possibly going to defend Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams? Aaron Rodgers looks like his MVP self. He still looks like an elite quarterback right now. Their offensive line is still managing to protect their quarterback with consistency right now, even without some of their key offensive linemen. Aaron Jones is a weapon. They've got a plethora of receivers that I think they can take advantage of in this matchup. And their defense played a lot better versus the 49ers, in my personal opinion, defending the run. And Big Ben looks like arguably the worst quarterback in pro football right now. Maybe it's a big bounce back game. Maybe it's a prove it game for the Steelers. Like, all of this is narratives if you're taking the Steelers here. I don't see the X's and O's lining up for the Packers to not cover, especially the confidence that being in Lambeau Field gives me with an Aaron Rodgers team. It is very rare that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers do not perform at their home field. So I love the Packers here. This was the first one I wrote down. I think they easily cover this. And I actually think the Steelers' defense is being overrated right now. They have a lot of injuries, yes, but I just don't see it performing at that elite level that it was a year ago. I've got the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers covering the 7 points versus the Pittsburgh Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger, a team that I'm completely fading this year. Take the Packers. My fifth best bet of week number 4 is the New York Jets. Yes, the New York Jets. I know. Cover your nose, plug your nose, whatever you got to do. It's going to stink, but you got to take the Jets this week, because the public is all over the Tennessee Titans. I believe 96% of the public are betting on the Titans to cover this game, but I'm reverse trend. I'm going against the public here. I'm fading the public. I'm taking the New York Jets. I actually really like the Jets in this game as a potential wild upset, because the Tennessee Titans I don't think are as good as people think. I also think they're missing their 2 best receivers and playmakers in this game. Julio is likely out. A.J. Brown is likely out. They have no-name receivers that are going to be targeted by Ryan Tannehill. And Derrick Henry is the only thing the Jets have to focus on. And the Jets have a fairly good defensive line that can plug up the lanes for Derrick Henry to run through. This is going to be a very low-scoring game, in my opinion. The Jets have struggled to move the ball, but now face probably the worst defense they've faced all year, right? They've played the Panthers, a very good defense, where they, by the way, that game was 19-14, a very competitive game looking back at it. They faced the Patriots. They got blown out in that game. That's an elite defense. They faced the Broncos. They got blown out in that game, but it was also an elite defense. Zach Wilson will now be facing a defense that is not nearly on the level of those 3 teams that he's faced, not nearly on the level of those coaches, right? And this week, I feel like he has actual favorable matchups with guys like Corey Davis, maybe Jamison Crowder back in the lineup. He's been a fan of Braxton Berrios. Elijah Moore could have a big game here if he suits up. I feel like the Jets, their offense, yes, has struggled and it's been disgusting to watch, but Zach Wilson is due to have a big game here. He is a talented young player, and I do believe the Jets are going to make this one very close in their home building. I am just very concerned about the Titans being a primarily explosive offense that lacks the explosive weapons. I think 7 points is too many, so give me the Jets here. I know it's gross, but I'll take the New York Jets to cover this number. And my 6th and final best bet versus the spread is the Washington football team minus 1.5 over the Atlanta Falcons. Now, this one, again, was another one where it immediately stood out to me. Atlanta, I feel like, has been kind of overrated the entire season and preseason. I think a lot of the factors that people think about when they think about Atlanta have to do with an offense that's explosive. Well, the Atlanta Falcons offense has extremely disappointed and underperformed so far this year. They have not been good. Matt Ryan has been one of the least explosive quarterbacks, actually, in fact, the least explosive quarterback without a completion over 20 yards. And really where Washington has suffered as a defense is in the secondary. They have not been able to get off the field when it comes to defending the passing game down the field. Their pass rush has not been great. But a pass rush is now going to play versus a weak offensive line in Atlanta, especially in the interior. Matt Ryan has really struggled under pressure. He's turned the ball over consistently. And really all you have to deal with is Calvin Ridley in this offense. Other than that, nobody scares you, including the rookie sensation, Kyle Pitts. He hasn't been doing much either. Atlanta is a team that is relying on their bad defense. I mean, this is a bad defense. I feel like, yes, they didn't have a great week last week versus the Bills, but this is a totally different caliber of opponent. I think Terry McLaurin should have a great game. I think Logan Thomas should have a great game. I think Antonio Gibson should have a great game. All of it lines up offensively for Washington to score some points here, and I just am fading Atlanta. Preseason expectations were too high. Expectations now are too high. And for them to only be 1.5-point favorites, Washington, I got to take it. I think they cover this short number, and I will take Washington as my final spread pick of the week. Now, lastly, my teaser of the week, I'm going to take two teams that I've already picked versus the spread to cover. That is the Green Bay Packers. Tease it down from 7 to 1, 6-point teaser. So Green Bay -1 on top of Kansas City from -7 to -1 to defeat the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm taking basically the Chiefs and the Packers to outright win their games versus their opponents this week. I like that a lot as my teaser of the week. There you guys go. Those are my best bets of week number 4. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, Gronk spiked that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more best bets each and every week here on the channel. It's Mitch. Thanks for watching. Peace.